screen right now, ready to play it when I get off.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We are Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. We are settling in here. Dwight Walton's got a mouthful of food. Dr. X is dealing with frigid temperatures up in New York City. We got AM Pfeffer. He's feeling good now. He's rocking a hoodie there in our LA studios. I am Rick Kamla. I have voices in my ear that are not mine, so that's a little weird. If we could fix that, that would be awesome. We're going to have Adam Smeirnoff of Lettuce fame. To me, the best funk band of all time. He's their lead guitarist. He's a Knicks super fan. So we're going to continue the whining, the crying, the justifying, the rationalizing about the Knicks with him at 3 o'clock Eastern time. We'll be having Brandon Armstrong, a.k.a. B-Dot, join us at some point here today. But we are chilling on the X-Rated Sports Network. And Doc and guys, we have to get into the biggest story in the NBA over the last week. Since our last show on Thursday night, of course, that's when it went down at the Garden with the Pistons humiliating the Knicks in front of a bunch of press celebrities, including Dr. X, who, of course, is the mayor of LA. The Pistons won the first two games, guys, by 69 points. If you hang with Doc in his hood there in Glendale up there at Americana at Brand, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, he's like De Niro walking around town, this guy, man. All right, so the Pistons won the first two games by 69 points, setting the stage for the show we've been talking about for weeks. What if? We got our answer. It was another beatdown, all right? Round three, 15-point victory for Detroit, 126-111. No Duran, no beef stew. So 3-0 record against New York by a total of 84 points. We're talking domination, kryptonite, all cliches in play. And for me, it was the loudest statement win of the season. A very, very close second was San Antonio mauling OKC on Christmas. And the Knicks now have the mantle for me for worst loss of the season by any team. So they got that going for them along with their NBA Cup, which Doc is still super excited about. So, yes, the Knicks have won 2 in a row here. Big time comeback against the Rockets. You beat the Bulls, who are tanking finally, and they have lost 9 straight games. Okay, so let's rewind to Thursday night. And let's start with this. Doc and AM and Nick Nation, we're going to get to your side of this in a minute, but we can't bury the lead. The lead is Cade Cunningham. He went 42, 8, and 13 in that game, 17 of 34 from the field. Cade was asked about MVP after the game, and he said, yes, I think I am. He said that to Vince Goodwill. Detroit, since drafting Cade Cunningham, has made this ascension. His season numbers, guys, 25, 6, and 10, almost a block, 1.4 steals. So, Dr. X, you first. Did Cade Cunningham win MVP on that night with that win and that huge performance over your Knicks?
I'll say I don't think so. I think, honestly speaking, he's still my second choice. If Jokic, doesn't miss another game, he's my number one choice. I have Jaylen Brown after Cade Cunningham. I just like the fact that he gets his teammates involved all the time. Like for several years, he's been averaging close to 10 assists, if not above that. And then he seems to get it done in the clutch moments. And then you can't forget about his defense, something that Jokic is not really known for. So for that reason, he kind of separates himself with the defensive end and his ability to guard multiple positions. So I like Cade Cunningham to be, in the MVP conversation moving forward for the rest of his career. I think he's in the prime of his career, entering the prime of his career. And I don't think, though, he has it over Jokic right now. But with the number one seed, the fact that he plays defense, the fact that he gets assists, he's definitely my number 2.
Okay, so Doc has Jokic number 1 right now. Jokic can miss one more game and still be eligible. So if anything happens to Jokic, I think Luka's number is 5. Wemby's number, I think, is 4. And SGA, like it's kind of drifting away from him right now. He's out indefinitely. So Dwight Walton, I go to you next, man. Did Cade Cunningham pretty much win the MVP award with that game on Thursday night?
Cade Cunningham, the one thing he did prove in that game was that he was the best player on the floor, and a future Detroit New York Knicks series, Cade Cunningham will be the best player in that series. Cade had an MVP performance in Madison Square Garden last Thursday. He had what most superstars would call their signature moment at Madison Square Garden. All the superstars want to have that game. So far for his career, that was Cade Cunningham's that game on Thursday night. As I said 2 weeks ago, as I said last week, and I'll say this morning, I think Jaylen Brown is my most valuable player in the NBA. Even if Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander fulfill their 65 game threshold, I think Jaylen Brown has had a tremendous season. And the reason why I'll give him the MVP is because this was supposed to be a transition year for the Boston Celtics. They lose Al Horford. They lose Drew Holiday. They lose Kristaps Porzingis. Three major rotation players from their championship rotation. They lose Jason Tatum to a presumed season-ending or season-long Achilles injury. It remains to be seen. I think he should not play this season, but that's another topic for another day. But for what?
Why not?
No, because he's not healthy. He's not healthy. It's an Achilles injury. It just doesn't happen like that. It's a mental hurdle besides the physical hurdle, but that's another topic for another segment. However, Jaylen Brown, the season he is having, he is arguably a top two best offensive and defensive player in the NBA. That mantra belongs to Victor Wembanyama, and until somebody surpasses that, that's not going to happen. But Jaylen Brown is the second best two-way player currently in the NBA. If you want to disrespect a roster, you could say that Jaylen Brown has done more with less than SGA, than Jokic, than even Cunningham. All right? But I'm not going to sit here and disrespect Peyton Pritchard, nor am I going to disrespect Derek White. They've had fantastic seasons. They are definitely a part of that rotation that can win a championship this season. But the narrative coming into the season for the Boston Celtics was that it was going to be a transition year, and some had them not even in the play-in. They had them in the lottery flat out. So, again, Jaylen Brown is my most valuable player. He's a 30 point per game scorer, one of the better defensive players that we have in the NBA. And if you want to go with that narrative, he has done more with less. Also, Joe Mazzulla is my coach of the year as of right now. The Boston Celtics have been a tremendous story, primarily because of my most valuable player, Jaylen Brown.
Did you guys see? I sent you the video on the XSN group chat of Joe Mazzulla. They asked him, "Is Jason Tatum practicing?" Yeah, he was at practice, and he's just staring a hole through this reporter. And then he asked something else. When is he going to return or whatever? And Joe Mazzulla just like stared and like shifted his eyes. Joe Mazzulla, we love you out here, dude. You're so strange. Like he's smiling there and affable there. That's like a media day thing there. But he's in the fight right now. Oh man, he's like ready to pounce. I love Joe Mazzulla, man. And great stuff. Okay, so we got a Jokic and we got a Brown. I'll go last. AM. Did Cade Cunningham win MVP? Like, did he take the MVP lead for you that night or not?
No. Jokic, to me, is so far and away still above everybody. And until he loses that 1 or 2 games and steps out of the conversation, I'm still giving it to him. Again, he was leaps and bounds at that point before he got hurt. Like, he leapfrogged SGA in such a way over that, 4 to 6 week period. And then he got hurt. That's fine. Like, I see you shaking your head, but to me, it's like, it's absurd what he is on the metrics. I mean, and I know stats, metrics. You know how I feel about it, embracing these guys. I'm a nerd in that respect as well. But he passes the eye test. He passes every test. The Nuggets are 500 or sub 500 without him. It's not even close. However, Cade did wrap up first team NBA for me on that night. That is a for sure. That is unquestionable. Okay, he fills that 4th spot. and he won it, and he was amazing, and I take nothing away from that. Watching that game as a Knicks fan, I wished he was on our team. He was that good. There's no question about it. That fifth spot's still up for grabs for me, and I understand the impassioned Jaylen Brown soliloquy we just got from one Dwight Walton, but he's neck and neck for me with Donovan Mitchell for the fifth spot right now. But I understand if you take Jaylen Brown as well. But Cade, yeah, you wrapped up first team All-NBA. That's for sure. And he's firmly in the conversation for MVP, even with Jokic all the way to the end. I don't want to take that away from him either. He's there. He's top 2 or 3. No question about it. But no, Jokic is still my MVP, and Cade did not wrap it up that night.
I understand. Shout out to Jason Arambulo and Kai Josephson, because it wasn't my bad. I had Stephen A in my ear, guys, because I had ESPN.com up, and like when you don't want it, the audio comes up, and I was like, what is happening? And then I'm getting commercials in my ear. I'm like, what is happening right now? It was on me. It was error on the host. Okay, I boot a ground ball from time to time, but not very much. But shout out to Jason and Kai; they're amazing. Anyway, all right. So it is my turn here. When we talked about this in our studio about a week ago, B-Dot was like, "Cade's my MVP," and I just love the opinion. And like I told you guys, Shea was hanging on by a thread for MVP over Cade when we talked. I said, I'm ready to just jump on the Cade bandwagon. And like, again, I don't care who wins MVP. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like I'm going to lobby for this or anything, but like we all, have our slotting as the season goes along. He's my MVP right now. And yes, for me, and then plus we get the news about SGA, missed 5 games before the break. Then we get the report coming out of the break that he's not going to play. He'll be reevaluated in a week. That means 4 more DNPs, okay, and maybe more. And that reevaluation point should be sometime in the next day or 2 or 3. And what if at that point they go, yep, we're going to reevaluate him in another week. And again, guys, OKC is thinking about one thing right now. They're thinking about JUNE. Only thing they're thinking about is the defending champs. Any kind of injury or little thing, they're going to sit him out and get him ready for the playoffs. And so I think SGA is going to fall below the game minimum anyway. He is not there yet, but I thought it was neck and neck anyway. We saw Cade go 42, 8, and 13 and rip the hearts out of New York City. Okay, it wasn't just John McEnroe and Dr. X and Tracy Morgan and all these people. Okay, it was Knicks Nation all around the world and the entire borough of Manhattan. Okay, the Detroit Pistons went, give me that purse, and I'm running off with it. Times Square style. Okay, and it was just a huge, huge win as we talked about. So I think it's Cade right now, guys. We talked about the numbers. To me, defensively, we talked about he had like 3 blocks in the All-Star game. This dude is SGA-ish in terms of being just a complete offensive dynamo who also is a kick-ass defensive player. At some point, I'm going to bet against it. I was going to say at some point, Luka Doncic is going to trigger in on this little trick. Because, Luka, this is how you win a chip, bro. But he's not going to. He's never going to, hit the defense like that. So I got Cade number 1. Dwight, I have Jaylen number 2. And then, SGA, Jokic, Wemby, and Luka are all battling the attendance clock right now. And some more favorably than others. And they slot somewhere in the rest of this. But right now, for me, it's Cade and Jaylen 1 and 2. All right, I want to get Dr. X cranked up again here. Let's play the blame or credit game for the Knicks and Pistons game. All right, again, huge game. Doc, do you blame the Knicks for that 15-point beatdown or give credit to the Pistons for the 15-point win?
I hate to say it's both, but I think Karl-Anthony Towns is locking in a little bit more. But I feel like he's in his head because he only took 4 shots in the first half. He had 2 points at the half. He wasn't aggressive enough against Paul Reed, who I think is a tremendous player. So I already knew going in that Paul Reed wasn't going to be someone that Towns was just going to, knock over and do what he wanted to do. But I think a lot of it had to do with the offense not featuring Karl-Anthony Towns early, getting him involved, getting him locked in. And I think they did a better job of that in the second half. But by that time, it was a little too late. But I also felt like OG Anunoby, usually when he comes back from break, and this happened like 2-3 years in a row already, Josh Hart always goes on vacation during All-Star break with his wife, and rightfully so, because he knows he's not going to be an All-Star. So why not plan a trip? But he always comes back a little rusty, a little hesitant to shoot the open three. I don't even think he took an open three. And then the Knicks, if you look at the stats, they missed a lot of open threes, uncontested threes, and they didn't. Them missing that, and then they also don't defend the three well. I'm not sure if they're doing this on purpose, like they're not locking it, because I know when it comes to playoff series, they're not going to be giving up open threes like that. But they already know the scouting report on the Detroit Pistons, and they felt like they could leave them open. But to me, I've always been against that theory. I always feel like you got to respect the NBA. You shouldn't leave any NBA player open for a three. Just D up, lock them all up, split the difference. Don't necessarily give them an easy lane to the rim, but you can't just give NBA players open threes. So I believe it was a mixture of that and Cade Cunningham shooting so many times, not being double teamed. I know in the playoffs that's going to totally go away. They're probably going to put a primary defender on him at all times and double team him because they only have one shot creator, which is a big problem. And I know my cousin Dwight, he always talks about shot creators being very important and how the Lakers had three shot creators in Luca, Austin, and LeBron, and how dangerous that becomes. I think in the playoffs, it's going to be a big issue for the Detroit Pistons because they have one shot creator. Duran is not going to be, creating shots for himself. And when the floor shrinks and the pressure is on, I'm not sure how good the bench players are going to be as well. So, with all that said, I think if the Knicks can hit their open threes, which they have done all year, which is why they're like second or third in offensive rating, and defensively they can get a little bit better because they were 11th. They were very low defensively, but now they've been climbing because they held teams under 100. If they just put that little tweak of just preventing open threes, that will I think shrink the gap in the 7-game series, and I still have the Knicks winning out. But to answer your question, Rick, I blame the Knicks. I blame OG being rusty, and I understand why. I've also blamed Josh Hart not bringing the same umph that he usually does, and Carlton Towns coming off to a slow start. But yeah, the Pistons, the Knicks are in no position to sleep on any team. They need to bring it every night. Period. End of story.
All right, so Doc is blaming New York. Let's get Dwight Walton's answer here. Are you blaming the Knicks or crediting the Pistons for what happened last Thursday at the Garden?
First of all, Rick, I want to say how proud I am of my cousin for giving context to was going to be my answer. But to answer the question, I give the Pistons full credit for what happened on Thursday night because they weren't without Jalen Duren nor Isaiah Stewart. Also, a stat that I've come to find out, Jalen Duren hasn't played against the Knicks all season. So the Pistons are showing how their roster depth is going to be a major factor come playoff time. That's why I'm giving the Pistons credit because they won the game shorthanded. We could talk about who was on vacation, what it was the first game after the All-Star break. The Pistons, ever since they lost to the Knicks last season, I forget, because was it 5 or 6 games? It was 5 games?
Six.
It was 6? Those were 6 of the closest games. Now you've heard me say time and time again, officials don't win or lose games for any team at any level. But if you talk to the Pistons behind the scenes, head coach JB Bickerstaff specifically, he will tell you that they felt robbed on several occasions, not once, but on several occasions in that playoff series. The Pistons have pictures of the Knicks organization on their walls. When they play the Knicks, it's like it's game 7 of the NBA Finals. They want to rip their hearts out as much as they can, whether it's the preseason, whether it's the middle of the season, or hopefully in these upcoming Eastern Conference playoffs. They do not like the Knicks. They want to dismantle the Knicks. They beat them by 84 points in 3 total games this season without their full roster. That's why Cade Cunningham is in the most valuable player conversation. That's why JB Bickerstaff is in the coach of the year conversation. You have to credit the Pistons. Now, to your point, cousin Phil, is it possible that Mike Brown and his coaching staff are playing possum this season with the Pistons and not showing their full arsenal or their scheme to set the Pistons up? The reason why I will go half and half on that is because that's a dangerous game for the Knicks to play. I don't think the Knicks are good enough to do that. Specifically because their two best players are not their two best defenders. We could talk about Mikal Bridges. We could talk about OG Anunoby. We could talk about Josh Hart until we're blue in the face. Those two players, Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, are going to be targeted time and time again. Yes, the Knicks can double team Cade Cunningham as soon as he crosses half court and force the other Pistons players to become playmakers. I totally agree with that strategy, and it may pay dividends in the playoffs between the Knicks and the Pistons and whomever the Pistons play. It is known by everybody that follows basketball that Cade is the primary ball handler and decision maker for the Pistons. We get that. But the Pistons are so locked in. I just don't think that's going to hurt them as much. I think the Pistons are primed for a championship run. But the Knicks, to me, aren't good enough to play possum during the regular season and to just switch it on like that come playoffs because their two primary players aren't locked in defensively the way you want their two star players to be. They can be exposed, specifically in screen roll action with Karl Anthony Towns. He doesn't slide his feet. He is not engaged. And if he's not engaged offensively, he becomes an even worse defensive player. And Jalen Brunson isn't going to become 6'5" overnight. We've seen him in person. We've taken pictures, cuz you and I, with him in person. He is no taller than 6 feet tall. I'm willing to give him 6'1" on a good day in sneakers. He is small. It's a problem. And it is going to be a problem. Not too many lead guards at his size win championships. All due much respect to Isaiah Thomas and a couple of others who have done it. Can Jalen Brunson do it? That remains to be seen. But I'm giving full credit to the Pistons because they were shorthanded for all 3 games against the Knicks this season. And I'm not sure if the Knicks are good enough to play possum during the regular season and all of a sudden switch that light on and say, this is how we're going to beat the Pistons. The Pistons are too good for that.
AM, I beg your pardon. I got to go to Doc here. Doc, do you agree? And Dwight's not necessarily saying that the Knicks are playing possum. He's bringing up it as a possible theory. One that, Dwight, with all love, I'm not buying, and I don't even know if you're buying it. But Doc, has that entered your thought process? Are you buying that? That Mike Brown is.
Yeah, it has. I feel like defensive adjustments they could have made, they decided not to double Cade. Like, why not double Cade? You know what I mean? That's the easiest thing to do. I mean, they're double teaming Jalen Brunson every night now. The scouting report's out. Let's just cut the head off the snake off and see what they do. So I think that's why we're happy that we have Jose Alvarado, another ball handler, but also a defensive, thorn in everybody's side. But Dwight, to your point, the Knicks also warrant full strength. Not that I need that as an excuse, but that does kind of go with the whole possum thing. The second game, there was no OG Anunoby and no Karl Anthony Towns, in addition to
Yep.
no Duren on the other side. So they're not giving them the scout. Actually, Detroit is giving them more of a scouting report. We know how Duren plays. Even last year in the playoffs, Stewart was out when we beat them that series. He had a knee injury, so he wasn't even playing. So, but I'm just saying that to say like they weren't full strength. Neither were we in game 2. It shouldn't have been that big of a deficit, but we know they're bench players now very well. We have a lot of scouting report on Dennis Jenkins. We've seen him all year now, and we know what he can do and we know what he can't do. And that I think is going to separate us the most. I think our players I just think we're deeper when it comes down to it. In a 7-game series, I think if we key in on Cade, we're going to take Cade out the game. He's going to get his points. He's going to probably average like 24 and 10. But who else is going to make up that 100 points? And that's the thing. We hold teams under 100 points when we lock in, and I don't think we're going to miss that many open threes going forward in a 7-game series. So I just think we're just going to win that matchup.
Can I ask before you go on, Rick? Can I ask you a question? Cuz, are you willing to now say that the Pistons are better than they were last year, or do you still think they're not as good as they were last year?
I don't think they're as good as they were. I think they're at least equal. I think the only reason they've made that jump is Duran got a little bit better, but they don't have the shooting that they had last year. And it's clear as day that's their Achilles heel, just like it's OKC Thunder's Achilles heel. They don't have the shooting. So if you come out there and you're hitting 15 threes a game and they're hitting like 8 threes a game and they have to put up so many shots. I mean, Cade's shooting 34 times. You don't see much stars shooting 34 times. Like, that's a lot of shots. He's not going to do that every night. And so I'm encouraged. If it took him to shoot 34 times to like balance out everybody else, then it's all good.
Ayo chiming in. The first game they were missing Duran, Tobias, and Karras. So what's the excuse? Ayo's coming on in here.
No, I mean sometimes you just get punched in the mouth. Sometimes you just get punched in the mouth. Like you come in, they're like the annoying little brother. No, hear me out. They're like the little annoying brother that finally like tired of getting beat up by the older brother, so they come out guns blazing. You're not really trying that hard, and they hit you with a couple haymakers. Of course, you'd be like, "Dang, okay, all right, fine, you got it." You want this regular season game, but when it counts in the playoffs,
okay,
you want it that hard that you want to like try and punk us. It's basketball at the end of the day. You're not like boxing out there. You're not wrestling. You're not doing all that stuff. So all that tough stuff goes out the window eventually because they don't want to be suspended for 4 games just to prove that they're tough. They do all that crap during the regular season, but they're gonna only do so much without being suspended. So Isaiah Stewart's not punching no one in the face, and neither is anybody scared of Isaiah Stewart doing that.
Are you
He'll
sure?
get punched back, and
I don't think he cares.
He'll get punched back by someone else that doesn't matter, by like Sohan or someone that we don't mind losing for a couple games, but he'll be gone. So that'll be a very stupid move by them. So they're literally playing into our hands. I'm not worried about them at all.
Yeah, Isaiah ain't throwing a punch because if he got 7 games for what he just did, if he throws a punch or 2, Adam, you might just say it's the whole season. I mean, they know that line to go up to, and it's all posturing and tough guy stuff, and some are fake tough guys, some are real tough guys, and Beef Stew's a real tough guy. So is AM Pfeffer. And AM, thank you for chilling here. So has the thought process ever entered your mind about the Knicks playing possum this year? And then the blame game. Are you blaming the Knicks for this game, or are you crediting the Pistons for this game?
Yeah, possum, no, because they're in too tight of a race for second place right now with the other three teams in the East. So it would be foolish to play possum. But I like what Doc said on our thread the other night, gathering intel, and I think there is some truth to that, the way that they're playing. Now, I assume that we're going to continue down the line a little bit more, and I have further thoughts on the Knicks themselves and what they should be doing against Detroit when playoff time comes around. But to answer your question about credit or blame, full credit to the Pistons. Look, you take me all the way back, take AM Pfeffer back to November when you heard me on this show say, hey, Detroit, I want to see you be a better team. And they came out slow out the gate. They did not look good in the beginning of the season, and they turned it on in a massive way. Credit Cade, credit Bickerstaff, credit the entire organization, credit Duran's development, this, that, the other. Lots of credit to go around, and they became the number 1 team. Since then, and I will fully admit this, I have been, passively aggressively pooping on them since then, that they weren't that good of a team, that they were going to falter against the West, that it just wasn't going to be there, and they could be number 1 throughout the season. I watched that game the other night, and they were absolutely the best team on that court, top to bottom. The Knicks have a major issue. As a fan, I see it. They do not put teams away. They like playing from behind. They're getting into cardiac games in the fourth quarter. They did it against Houston the other night. They're lucky that Houston, for all their hubris, made the mistake of not really getting the second point guard that they need and not giving enough in Reed Shepherd's hand to close out games. So good on the Knicks for winning that game. And then, the up and down escalator of the Bulls game the following night until they finally put them away. So they're a whole nother conversation, and I hope we continue the conversation, but I'm taking nothing away from the Pistons. They played the perfect game. Paul Reed was incredible on the inside, and to think that I'm talking about Paul Reed, or any of us are talking about Paul Reed as like a catalyst to that game, besides what, Cade did. And Rick, I want to hear what you have to say about this, but no, I'm not. I mean, because, as a fan, you could blame 12 Ways from Sunday what happened with the Knicks, taking nothing away from the Pistons. They're there. They're the best team in the East. All credit.
Hey, Rick,
Yeah.
I'm actually glad that we have like some real comments coming in. Thank you, AO. I know AO is probably a disgruntled Knick fan, just like myself. I'm the eternal optimist. It's always glass half full. Like my faith is big in the Knicks. Like it's actually grown my faith over the years. So, honestly speaking, yeah, I think, bro, just relax, man. We got this. Like, honestly, I would have done more moves in the beginning of the year.
What does that
but
say?
now
I
that
don't
this
have the
team,
glasses on. What is the
please encourage. We're not young dudes anymore. I can't even read that. It's like an eye chart. Okay, thank you guys.
AO said that tough stuff got
Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, AO said that tough stuff got them #1 in the league and our ass whooped 3 times. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid and be real with yourself. So he's kind of like on the Stephen A tip, where he's just like, abandon shit, get off. 7-game series are totally different, man. And we've seen, as you said, Rick, people will dominate a season series, and then when it comes to playoffs, the scouting report's out, and then you already know what to do. You already know the adjustments you can make. And that's the whole possum part. So I kind of agree with Dwight where it's half and half. Like, we could have made adjustments, but we're not going to show them those adjustments right now, because then they're going to adjust to it in the playoffs. We want to get them when they're off guard. Still game 1, still game 2, and then keep it moving from there.
Rick, if I could interject a little bit more, just a little bit more.
I just want to make a quick joke here. The Knicks propaganda machine is strong. Go ahead, Dwight.
Absolutely. But listen, here's the deal. And we could talk about scheme cuz until we're blue in the face. What I want to see, here's what I want to see. And I'm not going to be Shaquille O'Neal with Karl Anthony Towns. I think Karl Anthony Towns has had a fantastic season. I just want to see him be more diverse offensively. He allowed, and listen, AM, your point is valid. Paul Reed had 18 points, 6 rebounds in that game. He was a major part of what happened on Thursday night, and we got to give him full credit. But the reality is, Karl Anthony Towns has to read the room, man. He had Paul Reed guarding him. He had Tolu Smith guarding him. At some points, he had Tobias Harris guarding him. Stop floating around the 3-point line. Get your behind on the low block and use the skill set that you have down there. We understand that you don't want to be pigeonholed and be a traditional big by playing with your back to the basket and doing all the dirty work. We get it. You can show diversity, but a true superstar would have said, you know what? No Jalen Duren, no Isaiah Stewart. I'm going to show the Pistons who's boss tonight. Let me go on the low block and score every time until they stop me. But he didn't do that. He let them 3 guys off the hook. He floated around the 3-point line. He didn't do
Charles
it.
Barkley literally said, Poe does not know how to play basketball. He literally said it. And I love him for it.
That's what bothers me, fellas. I have no qualms with Karl Anthony Towns, the basketball player. He's second in the league in rebounding. He does his job. He needs to be a better defensive player. I will continue to harp on that until he becomes better. But he knows how to end defensive possessions by getting the rebound. But offensively, we could talk about Cade. We could talk about Jaylen Brown. We could talk about Nikola Jokic. We could talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as much as we want. If Karl Anthony Towns goes on that low block, It is a problem for the Detroit Pistons. End of discussion. If he does that, I'll give the Knicks a great chance of getting past the Eastern Conference Finals and into the finals.
All right, fellas. I'm going to blame the Knicks. So me and Doc are blaming the Knicks. Dwight and AM are crediting Detroit. 50-50. I figured it would be. The Pistons brought the heat, guys, and the wood and the noise, and they deserve a ton of credit. And so that's why this is a great debate. But my answer is the team that failed to win the must game. Let's go back. Oklahoma City loses 3 games to San Antonio and then handled their business in a big way that 4th meeting because they had to. It was a must win, yes, even for the champs. You can't go down 4-0 to San Antonio with Wemby gaining more and more momentum and confidence. You can't do that. You had to win that game, and they did. Okay, they were in a head-to-head competitive hole against a contender, just like the Knicks were against the Detroit Pistons last Thursday, and the Knicks face planted. Okay, that was not a must-win for Detroit. It was a chance to mind boink. I'm going to say it again, mind boink. It's a family show. Another forum, I may say something more colorful there, but it was their chance to mind boink the Knicks and Ben Stiller and Tracy Morgan and everybody, the whole fan base. Adam Smeirnoff, who we're going to have on in about a half hour. Mission accomplished, but it was not a must win for the Pistons, okay? It was the most important game of the season for the New York Knicks, a true must-win game in the old school message sending for the playoffs kind of strategy way like 80s and 90s, and I know that doesn't really matter right now because, of course, rest. No, you have to send messages, brah. There's the mental game. It's like it hasn't completely washed away, but it isn't like what it used to be. And the Knicks face planted. Ouch, babe. OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges were a mess in that game. And the Knicks lacked dog once again against Detroit. For the Knicks to lose the dog within the dog game, guys, to the Pistons in a non-Durant and non-Beef Stew game is absolutely intolerable, unacceptable, and unconscionable. I was channeling Stephen A right there. The Knicks can't lose. I love it when he does that like 3 in a row rhyme like that. The Knicks can't lose the dog game. They can't. It's been one of their main advantages over the last couple of years, okay? But, and probably here we go. Boy, Cam's about to set it off. With a soft coach, you get a soft team.
Gosh.
And with a hard-ass coach, you get a hard-ass team. I told y'all I would not have whacked tips. Told y'all. I told you. There's no way the Knicks are 0-3 to Detroit this year with Tom Thibodeau. There's no way. No way. You cannot. I will die on that hill. There's no freaking way. Tom Thibodeau, I got your back, homie. The Knicks have been soft against Detroit this year, guys. I'm not saying they're soft against every team. You know, they bully people and blah, blah, blah. What are you doing against Detroit, bro? You're minus 84 in 3 games, bro. But Tom Thibodeau's laughing right now, Leon Rose. See? And he, see, this is what happened when you fire me. You go and Ed Ogeron on this thing, man. The bullies have met their match. Sorry, Knicks fans. There is a new bully in town and on the block, and their name is the Detroit Pistons, okay? By the way, there's another bully brewing in Boston. I love Dwight Walton. I could not disagree more with his take on Jason Tatum. Tatum, come on back, bro. Try to get fitted for a second ring, bro. It's right there for you. But I blame the Knicks more than I credit the Detroit Pistons. And guys, I want to continue to just stir the pot here. Okay, I'm going to hit you with what might be perceived as a hot take, but it is not. As we downshift into what Am kind of talked about, who wins a playoff series right now? Doc kind of already answered this, but he'll go into more detail in a minute. I say Detroit. I have flipped, guys. I've flipped. Okay, I've been maintaining New York. They're going to the finals. They're going to beat Detroit in a playoff series. I'm not on that anymore. I'm not. Knicks, like I said, to James Harden and all these guys that I, fairly criticize, come get me. I'm here. Come get me. Prove me wrong. Show me something different. Give me some evidence to change my opinion, and I will. I'm not stubborn. I'm not closed off. But when I see it again and again and again and again, it's a pattern, bro, okay? And patterns become truisms over time. The Pistons are a bad matchup for the Knicks. They are deeper than the Knicks. They are tougher than the Knicks. They have more dogs than the Knicks. They have the MVP front runner, okay, in my opinion. The Pistons have proved all year that they're ready, okay? They are here, just like the Spurs have in the West. I have pivoted off of New York in the NBA Finals. I have pivoted off of that. If Jason Tatum comes back, Boston's going to the Finals. If Jason Tatum doesn't come back, Detroit is going to the NBA Finals. It's that simple to me. I think Boston with Jason Tatum is going to become a Goliath this year if it happens. Okay, many will say throughout the regular season because it's the playoffs. There's plenty of examples of that statement being true. Guys, there's also examples of a team just being better than another team. And every time they get together, we know it's going to happen, and it does. Think Golden State and SAC, the Northern California rivalry. You got the bullies against the little team that could, right? What happens when they get together? Boom, 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 boom. Golden State, B slaps them, and it's the same old dominance year after year after year, okay? So I feel like Detroit has that up on New York right now. Forget last year's playoff series. It does not matter at all. Cade wasn't an MVP candidate, and Duran wasn't an all-star, and they're completely different this year, okay? The Pistons are now the new bullies in the East, and they're going to beat the Knicks if they play each other in a playoff series. Doc, flesh out the rest of your opinion on that. Who wins a 7-game series between these teams right now?
Between the Knicks and the Pistons?
That's right.
Oh, the Knicks, obviously. I mean,
okay, obviously.
I'm not even worried about it. I just think the better
not
team is going to win.
Stop.
I'm not sure. Hey guys,
stop saying that. Stop saying
excuse
every
my
time,
camera.
Every time you say you're not worried about it, you're showing your stripes. You're worried about it.
I'm not.
I actually don't think he's worried about it. He's the mayor of LA. He's got more things to worry about than the Knicks and Pistons.
How am I supposed to answer it, Dwight? Am I supposed to say I'm worried, or what's the alternative?
Have the appropriate respect for the opponent. Just don't say they're obviously going to win. You can't say that.
I can say that because I know how they're going to win.
No, you can't say that.
I can say that the same way I told you that the Denver Nuggets were going to beat the Lakers in that series, and they smacked them up. Gentlemen swept them.
Yes, they
did.
Full
okay. You were so like you gave me all the reasons, and I actually gave you all the reasons why, and every reason I gave you turned out to be true. This is before the Denver Nuggets won a championship. I just knew it. Hey guys, due to the blizzard, the reception is very bad in my area. I feel like everybody's on the internet in all the buildings around us, so that's why it's a little grainy. But yeah, Rick, to answer your question, and also to that's funny, to address the Celtics. First off, the reason why the Celtics were so dominant in those years was because of Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday. They have lost those players. We already decimated. If you want to look at regular season meaning something, we already smacked up this Boston Celtics currently this year and have pretty much told Pritchard he's a non-factor because every time Pritchard runs into the court, guess who's coming in to play him? GTA, Jose Alvarado. And so with all of that said, I think honestly speaking, we're not really worried about the Celtics either. They can add Jason Tatum, but he's going to be on a minutes restriction. He's going to be unsure about himself. And when he was at the peak of his powers, we still weren't ducking any smoke. You know, we were able to come back from 20-point deficits with Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday. And I just don't think, even with Nikola Vucevic, that's even going to make a difference. He's not even making an impact right now. And personally, Karl-Anthony Towns has his way with Vuce every time. So I'm not worried about the Celtics. I think, as you were saying in the group chat yesterday about the Cavs are still soft. James Harden does not fix that problem. And so they haven't fixed that. And I also think Evan Mobley has hit his ceiling until he proves otherwise. He's hit his ceiling. He's just kind of like a bystander. He's just kind of there. He's not impacting the game. He needs to bring like a KG like type of force to him, but that's not his game. That's not his makeup. So then back to the Pistons, as I said, it looks like they're going to be great and all this other stuff, but these guys aren't proven. It's very unlikely for a team to never win a playoff series, also be at the bottom of the league with record-wise, with pretty much the same cast of players and then all of a sudden get to the NBA Finals. Very unlikely. The last team to do that, as I said before, was the Orlando Magic with Shaquille O'Neal and Anthony Hardaway. So that being said, I don't see this Pistons team doing that with one shot creator. They don't have an Austin Reeves in their team. They don't have anybody like that next to Cade Cunningham. They don't. They're very limited in terms of their offensive firepower.
I agree with
and in
that.
terms of their and also in terms of them being number one, everybody's they're number one. Their strength of schedule was very suspect in the beginning of the year.
Whoa, wait.
They
You
got
know what? Wait.
it was
I was
it was
waiting for you to say that. Wait. No. I was waiting for you to say that.
Let's see how they play against the Spurs. Hold on. Let me.
Okay,
Hey,
go
one
ahead.
more sentence. One more sentence, and I'll give you the floor. One more sentence. So, with that said, let's see how this incredible team with the all-star of Jalen Duren and Cade Cunningham play against the San Antonio Spurs, who we beat in the NBA Cup. So, I want to see how they match up against those guys.
Okay, one more thing. Listen, you were, I want to say back on December 28th, you said that's when the Pistons season starts. The Pistons are 18-6 against teams above 500 this season. So your strength of schedule thing is out the window. It's out the window. The Pistons are proven. They are proven. They are top 7 in this league in both offensive and defensive efficiency.
If
Those aren't flukes.
you get off to a good start, Dwight, it helps your season chances. If you have an easy schedule to start and you do well,
whose fault is that?
You're automatically gonna have the confidence. You're gonna have the record that you can follow. So I'm not saying they didn't win good games or big games or they haven't proven themselves, but they have also lost to some suspect teams. And also to Rick's point, well, your question, I'm not sure if we ever answered that or you ever put out there, but your question was like, which team is gonna take a dip and which team is gonna take ascend. I just feel like we haven't seen enough of the Pistons to see how they really will be until the playoffs or this part of the season where they're gonna have to play some tough matchups. They're on people's radar now. People want to embarrass them.
Time out real quick. Put the IO comment back up there. The last one about delusion, because I want Doc to.
It's a fellow Knicks
fan.
That's family right there.
We're having fun with your comments, guys. Keep them coming. Yeah, this one right here.
Yo,
Doc, take them out of that one.
Thank you, my friend. Hey, and see, notice he said he called me friend because that's family right there. When you think of Knicks fans, so he just needs a hug. He needs a hug. I have to talk him off the ledge. Those are the Knicks fans. Those are the Knicks fans that you have to check on after every game when there's a bad loss. And you have to encourage them in the Lord and be like, my brother, you got this. You got this.
But if you read the comments, cuz they're going at you hard. They're calling you salty. They're calling you delusional. They're calling you a whole bunch of stuff.
It's okay. We're always built different. Knicks fans are built different. Knicks fans are built different.
It's hilarious, yo. Word.
AM, do you agree? Where are you on this delusion thing? AM is a Knicks fan. Are you? Do you want a cup of delusion like our boy Io?
Let me really bring this back to some pragmatic reality because we all know that is who I am, and I think we're gonna have to bring a little bit of justice down to all of this. Guys, the NBA historically is filled, okay, absolutely to the brim of every cup of series during the regular season of one team waxing another and then getting to the playoffs and it's the complete opposite, right? We can point to a million of these things. So Dwight, I want to actually address something, this idea of worried. You're damn right I'm worried as a Knicks fan. I'm worried about the Cavaliers, okay? Because if you're playing them in one game, I'm not worried about them. I hear what you're saying. They're soft. We're all agreeing to that, but they're soft in one game. Over 4, They, like Donovan Mitchell, like his numbers and the way he's playing, there's certain things going on and the way Harden has the bigs around the rim. I'm just saying, yeah, I could be a little bit worried. I'm less worried about the other two teams in Boston and Detroit, but I'm a little worried about the Cavaliers for that very reason. Boston, we've waxed them all year. You're right, Doc. But come playoff time, I'm worried. get Vucevic as part of it. Like, they traded out Simons for Vucevic for a reason, and Nemish Keita is playing out of his mind this year. And we all talked about it on the show, and I asked the question, who's going to start? And everybody was like, Vucevic. And I'm like, Keita's still the starter there. Vu off the bench. They got a whole different dynamic. Mazzulla is absolutely the best coach of the year. Dwight, we're in agreement on that. And then comes Detroit. But here's the thing. If the Knicks are going to win the series, and I absolutely think they can win a 7-game series, I'm not just stating that Detroit is going to run away and win the series. They might be the better team. There was something going on in that game the other night, okay? When the Knicks, and I can't read that because, again, I'm old. I have no idea what that says. It's right there. I got blinding lights in my eyes. What am I looking at?
Bickerstaff.
Coach of the year. Bickerstaff, coach of the year. No, Mazzulla's coach of the year. Look, and by the way, I'm so glad you brought up Bickerstaff because I am so not off of Mike Brown. I love the adjustments. So many games have been won this year in the second half and the fourth quarter because of Mike Brown's adjustments, okay? Like, that's great. Tom Thibodeau would have run all these clowns into the ground like he has for years with every team. I like that we have a bench. I like that Brown was smart enough to be like, go get me Alvarado and Sohan, and he's bringing Sohan along a lot slower this year, so he can bring him along in the playoffs. All of this, to me, is feeling in the right direction, okay? But if they're going to play Detroit, and I got to get to this point, when the Knicks, and if the Knicks get to play Detroit in the playoffs, Poe can max at 25 minutes. You heard me say this before. He's not the second best player on the team when it comes playoff time. Mikal Bridges, and then OG Anunoby, and then Poe are that is literally, I mean, obviously Brunson first, but like that to me is the dynamic. Poe is a problem, and he's never just going to show up and play the big minutes and do what he needs to do against the tougher teams. He might do it against the Bulls like he did the other night when they won that game last night, okay? And he shows up, or against Houston as necessary in the fourth quarter and bring them along, but he's not going to do it against the tougher teams. He's not a tough guy, all right? He's a kinesiology student, and he's a softie at heart, and I love him for that as a human being. But as a basketball player, Barkley is right. The dude just doesn't know how to play basketball correctly for his team to win, especially against the tougher teams. I want heart, grittiness. I want more Alvarado, who, by the way, is not going to miss as many threes come playoff time like he did against Detroit when he was just airballing game, okay? And it's true. Doc made a good point. The Knicks are a top 2 or 3 team from 3 this year. And they were horrendous against Detroit. Like, I mean, the numbers were ludicrous in that game. Poe has to max at 25. Mikal Bridges is the X factor to me. This guy's got to show up. It's a totally different game. Sorry, I didn't really make my point, or maybe I did, but I don't think I said, like, when the game started getting close and the Knicks were coming back, Duncan Robinson came out and then just hit those threes, and boom, from there it was over, and Cade took over, and they ran away with that game. Detroit is not infallible, okay? And the Knicks have massive depth, and Mike Brown understands this year, and he makes good adjustments, and I still think about the movie, the history of like, you know, it's a movie. You've seen this movie before. The Knicks can absolutely win and get themselves to the finals, and they can absolutely win the finals. They have the roster top to bottom. Cade Cunningham is better than Jalen Brunson. Brunson can be hunted, but Mikal Bridges and OG have to step up, and Poe has to max at 25 minutes a game when they get to Detroit. That's how I see this playing
25 minutes a game. Let's keep that number in our mind because that's a very interesting thought. Jason and Kai, please put up the 2 comments by, I think it was Frank. He was kind of coming at Doc here a little bit about being delusional. And so, Dwight, we'll get to you about who wins the playoffs here. He said, my man coping so hard. I thought that was funny. And then Frank had another one. Yeah, this one. No, he had another one where maybe it was have more wins against teams.
These are all Knicks. These are all Knicks fans projecting their fears. These are all Knicks fans projecting.
And we love them for it. This is how New Yorkers talk to each other.
Too smart for that.
So we love this.
Yeah, there he goes. Knicks fans are so delusional.
I know my psychology well. Just projecting all over. They're just fearful looking on every YouTube channel. They're on every YouTube channel looking for hope, but just projecting their fears on me because I have faith. And I actually have evidence of why. I have actual reasons, people. The Detroit
psychoanalysis of Frank BJ 1152. I like. You are a doctor, so I mean it is what it is.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right, Dwight Walton. Who wins a playoff series? What would be your prediction right now? All right, tonight, dude, it's game one at what do they call it? The pizza shop or whatever the hell, that Little Caesar thing they got up there in Detroit. Sorry, Little Caesar. I do eat Little Caesar. I like it. It's tasty. But anyway, who cares? Who wins this playoff series if it's played right now, Dwight?
I've told my cousin this privately. I've said it on the group chat. I will say it on this platform. Game 7 will be in Detroit. That's the difference for me. Game 7 in Detroit. Detroit will win the series because of that. There are other factors. Obviously, I think the Knicks are tougher. I think the Pistons are tougher. I think they have the deeper roster. I think they're hungry. They are motivated. They are, for lack of a better term, pissed off that they lost to the Knicks last season. My only concern for the Pistons, will they give the appropriate respect to the other teams before they play the Knicks, so they're not thinking about the Knicks so much that it affects them psychologically and they don't get to the Knicks? Okay? That's my only concern. But again, Little Caesars. Nice touch, fellas. But again, game 7 will be in Detroit. To me, that will be a major factor. Again, I am on record as saying Madison Square Garden is the best atmosphere in North America come playoff time. I'm hoping that my cousin gets me some tickets for games this spring. I know he's going to be mad at me, but that's something else. But
I think you might have talked away out of that one, Dwight.
But again, game 7 will be in Detroit. To me, that will be a major factor in that series if they play each other. I have the Pistons winning in 7 games.
It's only going to 6, Dwight, so it doesn't matter about home court advantage.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Hey, AM, what do you think about that comment by Frank that Knick fans are so delusional it's sad? What's your retort to that? We have Adam Smeirnoff, by the way, coming right around the corner here. What's your retort to that?
I mean, like, dude, you got nothing on the Jets. That's my retort to it. Like, to even wake up every day and bleed green and put the jersey on, you got to be way more delusional than the Knicks fans after what the last 40 years have brought. And don't get me wrong, to be a Knicks fan can put you in a different place, obviously, for a couple of those decades. But like, that's fine. No, we got nothing. Like, and a lot of Knicks fans are Jets fans, myself included. But like, you can't even compare the two. Way more delusional to be a Jets fan.
So let's bring on the great Adam Smeirnoff right now, guitarist from the greatest funk band of all time. They're touring and coming to a venue near you. I'll be seeing them this weekend in Live Oak at Amp Jam somewhere in Florida. I don't know where, 3 hours from where the hell I live. Adam, what's up? Welcome back.
Yeah. I have a
Hello,
retort
Knicks
to all
fan.
this.
What up?
Knicks fans are traumatized. We are traumatized people. All right. So when you speak to us, just know you're speaking to someone who's carrying around years and years of trauma, essentially 50 years of trauma. If you're 50 years old, that's right at like, we weren't around for the walk Clyde Frazier. Right. So yeah, look, all of this, there's different ways of trying to rationalize a season. Right. First of all, if you went into last year's playoff with the same mentality that you're speaking about Detroit, we never defeated the Celtics one time in the regular season last year.
True.
So one rationalization could be, hey, that's what happened with the Celtics last year. At least we're going to give it a go. And then the other thing to do would be perhaps losing is good self-reflection for the Knicks to work on themselves. Yep. We've got 26, 27 more games left to try and improve. You already see within the past 2 games, a different tone from Karl Anthony Towns, right? Wouldn't you agree to that?
100%. Yes. And that's exactly what I've been telling this panel of friends and haterade cousins that, look exactly what happened last year with Boston. Look exactly what happened last year with this actual Pistons team who had more shooters last year. Like they're totally gonna miss the shooting of Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. I don't believe in the Red Rocket. I don't think he's gonna add anything better than he's gonna take away the toughness that Tim Hardaway Jr. and Beasley had. And so they gave up toughness and shooting, and they're gonna miss that tremendously.
Perhaps. I think he's pretty playoff proven. You know,
Yeah.
he's which brings up to an entire different subject. One of these days we got to talk about Malik Beasley, man, because this stuff is crazy, right? He's in the
that's
Bad
a
Bunny
whole
Puerto Rican
that's
league.
a whole other conversation, Adam. Yeah, that's a whole that's
Wow.
a whole different set.
By the way, you guys, Adam called that to me. He floated a thought out. What, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Adam, about and then so every time that news hits, Adam hits me. Told you, told you.
Yeah, well, that's a different subject.
So Adam, first of all, this is Dwight Walton. Thank you for gracing us with your presence on our podcast. It's greatly appreciative. Listen, do you think if the Knicks don't win with this current roster, should the roster be broken up? Meaning, do they go all in for Giannis Antetokounmpo this offseason?
Yes. Absolutely.
All right. I want to add to that. Adam, do you think the Bucks want Cat or OG or Mikal Bridges at this point? Like, I still think it's worth talking. Sure, we all want to blow up the roster and bring in Giannis, myself included, as a Knicks fan. But, like, do the Bucks want that? Is that going to help them? And is this going to happen?
I can't tell you that, but all I know is that perhaps the fact that Giannis won there gives him some sort of say. Did I just lose you guys?
No. We just
okay. Went to a different screen. Maybe he's got some sort of pull with the franchise, and they're going to respect where he's asking to go. I don't know how that works. I'm not an NBA player. I'm not an NBA GM.
I tried that as well.
And and then you have to weigh it to what else are the offers out there, and that Giannis will be in the last year of his contract next season.
Yeah.
So then there would be the chance of losing him for absolutely nothing if he doesn't sign an extension. So really, I feel like it could go either way. I don't know. I mean, from the Knicks side, would I do the deal? The answer is yes. From the Cavs side, I'm not sure. It depends. Can you turn around and flip Karl Anthony Towns for young picks? Or can you involve a third team that would take Karl Anthony Towns and convert that into picks? Convert some of these other players into younger players and picks with other teams? I'm not sure. If you can do that, then I think...
Great Adam Smeirnoff hanging out with us here. And on X-Rated Sports Network. The show is Beyond the Surface. So are you not panicking, Adam? I know you're a very proud, very confident Knicks fan, but was your confidence hit at all with the loss to Detroit on Thursday? You guys are 0-3 against this team, losing by a total of 84 points. I'm not trying to rub it in. I'm just saying the facts here. Was your confidence hit at all?
I said we're traumatized. Every Knicks fan is panicking. If they say any different, they're lying.
Doc is saying different.
Thank you.
Hey, Adam's saying different. Are they lying?
That. Thank you.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
The reason.
Yes, we are. We're hopeful that it will
that's
go
just the
the
way
other
we
way.
talk.
We're hopeful.
No.
We're hopeful that it will be different.
Rick,
But
I
if
said
you
I
go
was
by
worried, man.
history-
I'm not panicking, but I said I was worried.
Oh, so
worried. We
AM
are
did say
worried.
he was worried.
Yeah.
My bad, but Doc is staunchly confident. He's not buying any of this rhetoric.
Wow,
Not.
that's crazy, man. Detroit is
Not.
the team to beat, and and Jason Tatum's coming back for the Celtics, and they both want revenge.
Oh,
No,
Yes.
nope. They have no Chris
I agree
Porzingis,
with
no
you, Adam.
Holiday.
I agree. Dwight doesn't
They're not as
want
deep.
Jason Tatum to come back. I'm like screaming at Tatum. You have an opportunity
Bring
to
him
goal
back.
ball right now. You have to come back.
Bring him
Adam,
back.
Adam, I want to know.
I don't know. You look at Missoula and
Karl
his
Anthony
coaching
Towns
style. Sorry, go ahead.
I was curious. Do you want Karl Anthony Towns to step up and put up 35 to 40 minutes a game come the Detroit series? Or would you rather see him take a back seat and Brown go a different direction? Because that's what I threw out earlier in the show. Like, keep Cat at, as I like to call him, Poe, as in Potemkin Village. Keep him limited to 25 minutes a game and go a very different way with your roster. You've got to come to Detroit a whole different way. What do you want to see happen come playoff time if the Knicks get to play the Pistons?
I mean, I want to see him step up in a Detroit series because he hasn't done it yet this season.
Do you think he's capable of that?
I do, and I think you got to play him the right way in that series. You got to let him be a shooter. I don't want to see him try and do back to the basket post play against Detroit's tough guys. I don't want to see it.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
Dwight,
Adam.
come on in here.
Ooh, Adam, you know what? With all due respect, my friend, I completely disagree. I think he needs to, now, again, I understand if you're talking about Jalen Duren and even Isaiah Stewart, who Karl Anthony Towns, I believe he has 5 inches on Stewart, but I know Stewart is tough. But last Thursday night, Adam, he had the opportunity to dominate Paul Reed, Tolu Smith, and even at some points of the game, Tobias Harris. He did neither on all 3, which is why the Knicks struggled offensively. I am sick and tired. I have the utmost respect for Jalen Brunson as a player, but I am sick and tired of seeing Brunson dribble the shot clock out for 18 of the 24 seconds. It makes no sense. And the reality is, Karl Anthony Towns is like a little child. And I mean this in a basketball sense. If Towns isn't playing well offensively, it affects every other aspect of his game. Now, I know he's top 3 in the league in rebounding, and I respect that, okay? But Karl Anthony Towns needs to diversify his game if the Knicks are to have any shot in any playoff series. Stop floating around the three-point line. Stop allowing the Pistons, Paul Reed, Tolu Smith, and Tobias Harris to guard you. Go on the low block and force the Pistons to double team you. Don't allow him to play him one-on-one. It was counterproductive, and that's the reason why, at least on Thursday night, the Knicks got dismantled by the Pistons. I firmly believe, now you're talking to a former post player, so that's where I get triggered. Towns needs to put his big behind on the low block and dominate his opponent. That's how the Knicks
not his game.
Are going to win.
It's not his game. That's why they had such success with Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns in the Western Conference, because they let Rudy do a lot of that dirty work. And I really think that one of the things that needs to happen for the Knicks in this series is you got to run 2 bigs. You got to run Big Mitch down there. Let him do the dirty work that you're talking about and spread the floor with Karl and get him shooting early on. Get him shooting from the mid-range, free throw line extended, and the 3-point line. I think right there, then his confidence comes about. You get him going early, and then you can have all the aspects of his game. Because I completely agree with you as far as his confidence goes.
Hey, Doc, do you agree? Would you rather see Cat in the hole or more on the perimeter and where Adam's talking about? Because Adam and Dwight have a totally different outlook on that. Where are you with that?
I totally agree with actually Dwight, but I also agree with Adam. And to me, as a pro NBA player, and all these trainers and jumpsuits that should actually be wearing, suits at this point, need to get in the gym with this guy and show him a drop step. He actually has done it, Adam, a couple times in the past couple games. And so I'm kind of encouraged. This is a guy that when he was with Kentucky, Calipari told him he wasn't allowed to shoot any threes. and so he dominated the post, and that's what he got used to. So I know he can play the post. My actual biggest worry about Towns is that he doesn't play intelligently in the post. He throws his elbows, he kicks his legs, and then sometimes from that he gets offensive fouls. He gets in foul trouble, and then he's sitting on the other side. He's actually sitting on the bench way too
That's right.
early. And then when he plays defense, he always believes like his left hand is invisible or something to the referee. He'll be playing defense and he's like pushing the player, like obviously, like bro, we see your hand. Like on every single replay, you're gonna get caught on every foul. He fouls too obviously on defense and also on offense. So the only thing I worry about is that he's not practicing enough. He's not getting the reps. So he has the rest of the season to start doing that. And I think they need to do that. Also need to bring Carmelo Anthony in or some sort of skills coach that can show him that the mid range is also really good for him too. Like the same way Carmelo used to jab step, and like he literally, if he were to take Carmelo Anthony's game, he would totally dominate for the rest of his career because he can totally do that jab step because he is a really good shooter, and he also can
Is that
get in
going
the
to happen
post
in the
once he.
next 26 games and playoffs?
It can because he's that skilled. It's actually a mentality thing. I really do believe that
Okay.
with Cat. His biggest issue is his mentality. When he thinks big, he plays big. When he thinks small and he thinks people are not really getting him involved, which is why I look at Brunson and Coach Brown. You have to feature this guy, just like Cousin Dwight was saying. Like you have to make him feel like he's a part and he's needed, and that's why Shaq was so hard on him because it's like, yo, you have to know your value. You have to play hard like that. And if you do that, then everybody will follow. But if you don't show confidence, if you're doing stupid fouls, offensive fouls, defensive fouls, taking yourself out the game, which he's done his whole career in Minnesota, you're not even going to be on the floor to even affect change.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, but I think that intelligence is a little bit of what Charles Barkley was saying the other day.
Mm-hmm.
That you have to
Yep.
know your matchup. And some of those
Mm-hmm.
matchups aren't good
That's
for him, right? Like the
Yeah.
Durant matchup isn't good for him in the post.
Yep.
That's when you should be shooting. If they put a
Yep.
smaller guy on you, yes, I fully agree. Like that's when you should be dominating in the post. But it's really having a good understanding of who your defensive matchup is in this game at the moment, and who's taking the switches onto you.
agreed.
Adam Smeirnoff hanging out with us here. Adam, I want to take us back. The legendary guitarist of the legendary funk band Lettuce. You and I talked a lot about when the Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau. I was in downtown St. Pete, out with a buddy, having some fun. Adam calls me, got to go outside and take this call. And I was like, what are they doing? What are they doing? And you like talked me off the ledge and made a bunch of great basketball points. And I consumed it. I processed it. I respected it, but I still ultimately disagreed with it. And one of my theories coming into the year was that the best year of Karl Anthony Towns' career was last year with Tibbs. And I figured he was third on my MVP ballot. He played through a lot of injuries. He played with the most force I've ever seen. And I'm not seeing that this year because Mike Brown is not a boot in your ass coach like Tom Thibodeau. And I think Cat needs the boot in your ass. And he's not getting that right now. And so he's drifting more. He's quieter more. The stats overall are down. He's still an all-star, don't get me wrong, but now that he's not an MVP candidate like last year. So have you, and especially 0-3 against Detroit, are you kind of turning on Brown? Are you kind of wishing you had Tibbs back? Where are you at with that?
I mean, I think I said to you that you can't really truly give that answer until you see the playoffs because as of right now, the record is kind of similar. The one thing about Tibbs is that he would not budge from his style. He would not make adjustments. I've already seen Mike Brown make adjustments this year and be willing to go into the playoffs with his starters a little bit in better shape, better rested, and willing to find players on our bench that are going to be useful. Um, Ultimately, I'm not going to be able to truly answer that question until, you know, we're in the Eastern Conference Finals. If it's if we don't make it there, then yeah. But there's no saying that Tibbs would have made it there either
Right.
in this year.
Right.
Especially with the style that he played. So I don't know. I mean, ultimately, the coach isn't the one on the floor, and
Right again.
these are pros. And part of Tibbs's attitude was to let the players play. I mean, let players go. There's less ISO ball this year. There's a higher defensive rating. There's more shooting from the corner. I like all of these stats personally. I think perhaps in a playoff series that those are the stats that might get you over the hump against a specific team in a 7-game series. So, as I said, we're traumatized and hopeful all at the same time. Us Knicks fans.
Yeah.
The
Which
Knicks,
means
the Knicks are up by about
I
2 points per game, and the points allowed is like within 1/10 of a point, but the rating is slightly up from last year. The points are up by about 2 points per game. We all figured that would happen with Mike Brown. Am, go ahead.
which means I just wanted to say, like, the more you talk, the more I feel like the vibes I get, like you and I might have been best friends, like in the Adirondacks or Poconos in summer camp in 1989. I'm just saying, like, I'm just feeling that vibe with you, dude. Am I crazy? Or like, could you and I have had that kismet at like 11, 12 years old?
Hey man, I mean I'm there. I went to those camps. Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about. I could tell. Oh, dude, like, yeah, we would have been crushing it at softball together, man. Traveling around.
And unfortunately, I was more like I'm going to the music building.
Okay,
And
yeah. I would have come and listened.
There you go.
Color War, man. They brought you on
what's
stage
interesting?
right at the end.
At my summer camp that I went to, here's a little Knicks tidbit for you. Was the same building, the gym, where Walt Clyde Frazier's Sports Academy was. And I used to work in the canteen, and every once in a while he'd come in and get a slushie.
There you go.
Awesome. Nice. What was the camp, by the way? What camp were you at?
I went to Frenchwood's Camp for the Performing Arts.
Nice.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Love it.
That's why he's one of the best musicians on the planet, man. Schmeez, let me ask you, what is the Knicks' #1 problem right now? I know, what's their #1 problem right now?
Consistency. You don't know what team's going to show up. Sometimes they go on a run and you're like, these guys could beat anyone in the NBA, and other times the other side shows up and you're like, these guys stand no chance, and you don't know which way you're going to go either day. So consistency is their problem.
Yep. Hey,
Adam,
I
got a question here. Adam, we spoke about going after Giannis Antetokounmpo. To me, as soon as Mike Brown was hired last summer, he had the most pressure coming into the season because at the very least, the floor was 50 wins and getting back to the Eastern Conference Finals. Is this a one and done situation for Mike Brown? And I agree with you how he's allowed his roster to form some form of identity. He has given them confidence throughout the regular season, something Tibbs never did. So when they're called upon come playoff time, they will at least have formed some trust with Coach Brown. Do you believe, with the way the New York media is, how pressurized that whole market is this a one and done season if the Knicks don't at the very least get back to the Eastern Conference Finals, or is Brown given the benefit of the doubt more than the current roster?
I think I would give Brown the benefit of the doubt. I mean, when you look at last year, we got to those Eastern Conference Finals by the skin of our teeth. If Brunson doesn't hit that shot against Detroit last year, it could have been done right there. The Celtics series coming back from 18-point deficits, like I don't know. It just felt like could even have Tibbs pulled that off again. I don't know. Because of that, I don't know. I think you got to give a coach more than one season, even if he
I
doesn't
agree.
reach the point of where they reached last year. I mean, I think one of the things that the Knicks have tried to gain since the Leon Rose era is like continuity, right? And
Yep.
this idea of bringing a player in, getting rid of the player, bringing a coach in, getting rid of the coach. We've lived that life. It doesn't work. And, you know, to me, it's more about like, if it doesn't work, can you tinker with this roster? Can you move some things around? Can you do better than you did last year? I don't know. These are the questions at hand for the franchise.
You do know, Adam. You do know. You've answered that very good. I believe I believe everything you said, but see, us Knick fans, we already know the answer, but then all the doubt is also in the back of our head all the time. Simultaneously, we exist in this positive but yet negative mindset. But
Trauma.
honestly speaking, yeah, trauma, literally trauma. But it's everything you said. Their consistency is the thing that we need. But I think that when you say consistency, automatically I'm thinking Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. OG has done a little bit better in the winning streak that we had recently.
Yes.
After right before he got injured, but then I just don't know which OG is going to show up. And then when he starts showing up, he gets a hamstring injury. So now I'm just like, if OG can stay consistent, like be that 18-point scorer, also be elite defensively, because, they talk about this wing stop stuff, yet Cade Cunningham had his way. We threw every wing at him. And that's why I think in the playoffs, we're really going to be doing the double team in addition to a primary defender who is already an elite defender. But in terms of the coaching, I think Thibodeau hit his ceiling, Rick. And I just felt like he can only do
I
so much
agree.
with that. And you really need someone that can think broader and use the tools that you have. All that tough talk, as I said before, with Thibodeau, hit its ceiling because you have to be able to make adjustments, which is what Adam was saying. And I think that's the biggest thing with Mike Brown. Mike Brown makes adjustments. And I think we also have the defensive tools to be able to be a really good defensive team and make adjustments as well. So I'm really encouraged about any 7-game series with any player. I mean, with any team due to the tweaks that we made in our roster. Now, if they don't win this year, I'm totally okay with the blowing it up because I was already on that tip to begin the year with. I was just like, what's the point of getting a participation trophy in the finals, knowing that we have no chance in the finals? But I really feel just from seeing the other teams this year and the tweaks that we made to our roster that we could beat any team in a 7-game series. I'm not going to say it's a guarantee, but I do think that we have a chance in every 7-game series.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And Cade, it's not just against the Knicks. Cade's been doing this against every team in the NBA all season. There's a reason that he is in the MVP talks. And look how Tibbs played him last year. Do you think that would work this year? Because all they did is let him shoot. They took steps back. He didn't have confidence in his 3-point shot last year going into the playoffs and during the playoffs. And right now, that's not going to work. That mindset, that defensive scheme would not work against Katie either. So, what do you do with this guy?
Sohan guards him or OG guards him, and we
No,
also
no, no,
double.
no, no,
We
no,
double.
no,
Double
no,
team.
no.
We don't double team Dwight.
No, you double him. You don't
That's
put
what I meant.
Jeremy Sohan is not the answer. He is not
All I
better
I
than
said,
agree.
I agree with that.
yeah,
Agreed.
but
He's
he's
not the answer.
harping. You're harping on one thing I said. What I really said is they need a primary elite defender on him at all times, which
Yes.
Jeremy Sohan is one of those players. And then we will
Size.
also be
You need
doubling
size
him.
on him.
Yeah, you got to put
That's
OG
part of our
on him.
problem.
You got to put OG
Yeah, but
on Cade.
OG got cooked. So really, it's not the primary defender. It's about the double teaming. But I was just saying that we do have a plethora of wings that are elite defenders. You add that plus a double team every possession or almost every possession, you're going to be in his head. He's going to Adam, what do you feel about the Pistons not having another like primary shot creator on their team outside of Cade Cunningham?
Unless something happens with his confidence or his shooting, I don't think it matters for them because he's such an incredible passer. The way he finds people underneath the hoop and the defense collapses around him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I look at him very similar to like, you know,
You can say it. It's LeBron, Adam. You could say it. You
thank
could
you.
say it. You could say
For
it.
me, it's Grant Hill.
He's playing like
It's-
Bron. He's playing like
For me,
Bron
it's
right
Grant
now.
Hill.
Yes, you can say it.
Yeah, I think I
Absolutely.
agree with you.
He's making his
Grant Hill.
teammates better.
Grant
His
Hill,
body
all
type's
day.
more like Grant Hill. That's why I'm more. But I'm not mad at you guys for saying that. My comp for him is Grant Hill.
You're just
Yep.
looking at a pass first forward like Grant Hill, like LeBron. Yes, who can score the ball from anywhere on the court and is making the players around him better.
Absolutely.
So, yep.
So guys, we're going to kind of get into a little Pat Riley talk here. His statue was unveiled yesterday outside of crypto.com. It's gorgeous. It's not that horrible sculpture that they gave Dwayne Wade. And I still can't believe that. You have to send that back to the sculptor and take some of the money you paid him or her back and get that thing fixed. I'm not sure they've done that.
I didn't even see it. Is it awful?
It's you got to look up the D-Wade statue. You're going to laugh your butt off. Maybe Jason and Kai can get a little clip of it real quick for you here. It's awful. But the Pat Riley one's dope. He's got a hand on his hip. He's got his hand up in a fist. Right. It's just freaking perfect, man. Who is your favorite coach of all time?
I mean,
Look at that right
I would
there.
probably say during my era with the Knicks, there was a moment where Jeff Van Gundy was my favorite
More
coach.
than Riley. More than Riley,
Yes.
huh?
Yes.
Okay.
I
There
could
was
rock
an
with
emotional.
that. Yeah.
There was an emotional aspect of Riley leaving us, his assistant stepping up, the fact that he was so opposite from him, that he didn't care about his image, that he drove a Honda Civic that got sucked into the team plane at some point, right? That he ended up beating the Bulls in his first game, that, he took us to the NBA finals. I don't know, man. The fights where he got decked by Camby or he was wrapped around the leg of
Exactly. That's
Alonzo
where I was
Mourning.
going.
I mean,
the best.
like,
The
yeah,
best.
Van
My
Gundy
favorite
to me,
images.
he was like us out on the court. He didn't sleep.
Yep.
He was like the
Bags
team's
under his eyes for
prototype.
days.
Bags under his eyes. He lived and died for this, which is why for the Knicks, he was my favorite coach. I'm not talking about best coach ever in the NBA or anything like that, For that,
Yeah. Favorite coach.
That-
I thought it might be Riley.
I'm with you, Adam.
ABG. I like it.
You convinced me.
That
Adam.
I'm telling you that image of Jeff Van Gundy on the ground in that fight, clamping onto Alonzo Mourning's legs, that fits New York to a T. He was New York through and through. He didn't give a damn. He was. It's almost as if he was the spokesperson for the New York fan base out there. Besides being the head coach, he was the perfect personality for those New York Knicks. It's just a shame that he didn't have more success. But I'm with you. For as celebrated as Pat Riley deserves to be, I think the coach that I remember most for the New York Knicks is definitely Jeff Van Gundy. No question about it.
Adam, I'm sending you a picture of the D Wade statue right now, and
Oh, the D
I
Wade
actually,
statue. Yeah.
and I actually
Okay,
just
hold on.
mistakenly sent it to Adam Teicher. He's a Chiefs reporter for ESPN.com.
Oh, I've
And
seen
Just
that.
a
I used to
random
have
text.
Adam on
I
Mad Dog Sports
misheard you.
Radio a lot.
I thought you were talking about the Pat one for a sec.
No. The Pat one is dope. The Pat one is dope. Now, I sent it to you on your phone, Adam. You should have the D Wade statue on your phone, but you may be busy with, with the feed here. Are you looking at it?
I saw it. Yeah, I've seen it before. It's terrible.
It's so terrible. Yeah. Again, I sent randomly the D Wade statue to Adam Teicher, the ESPN.com Chiefs beat reporter. So that'll be interesting to see. I sincerely hope he just ghosts that text and moves on with his busy life. Holy cow. Adam, let's talk a little music, dude. You got the Amp Jam coming up in Live Oak, Florida this weekend. Any gigs in between, or are you just kind of taking a little breather here and then heading out for that?
Well, we were just out for a full month, so we're going to take a little breather after that and then get back for Jazz Fest down in New Orleans. We're playing the Fairgrounds this year, which is a huge honor for us, and to always kind of be involved in the New Orleans music scene, kind of be adopted into that is always, been, something really special for us.
Yo, Adam, speaking of the Jazz Festival, I live in Montreal. Have you ever been to the Jazz Festival here in Montreal?
I can't tell you where I've been. I forget. I've been so many places, man.
That's a fair question.
Like every time I go to a club and I'm like on the phone with like my father or something, and he's like, "Where are you playing?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm in Indianapolis." He's like, "You ever play that club?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't think I've ever been here." Then sometimes like they'll come up to me afterwards and they'll be like, "Oh, yo, you remember the last time you were here?" And I was like, "Damn." I forget a lot of places. Yeah, I've been to Montreal though.
That's so honest. That's
look,
so good.
I got to tell you, Adam's not like, you think of some rock and roll and some musicians that like, partied a ton and like, kind of, and Adam, it's just busyness for Adam, man. It's just busyness for him. True. I love Cook. It's an absolutely amazing album. It's Lettuce's latest release. It's been received very, very well by me. How's it been received? What's the feedback you're getting on it, and maybe how it's performing for you?
I mean, this is probably like within the few months of a release, the most amount of press that we've ever gotten from an album, whether it's like Billboard Japan or Downbeat Magazine or, just a lot of media outlets have really found this, I guess, and are into it. So, I mean, I feel lucky. It's a good thing, and we have our core audience, and hopefully, it just continues to grow organically.
Look at my boy Schmeens up there, man, killing it. I saw. Hey, we gotta talk. I saw these guys in St. Pete. I don't know, a month ago, whenever it was, and. You guys, it was like 40 degrees, and I texted Adam at set break, and I said, "Bro, you need a space heater?" And Adam, what was your response to that? Because that was a cold night in St. Pete, dude.
I don't know what did I say? I don't remember.
Well, you can't remember anything, so you said yes. No. I needed one.
Yes, yeah, my hands were cold.
That was a heck of a fun night, though, man. Adam, we will let you go on this note. Super looking forward to seeing you guys perform this weekend in Florida. Not sure I'll see you or not. It's all good. You're going to be busy doing your thing, but I will be out there in the crowd.
It's a festival, so I'm mostly not busy.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, then we definitely will see each other. I can't wait, but we'll be in touch about that. But Adam, always appreciate your time, my friend. Look
Let's
right
go,
here,
Knicks.
repping the Knicks, baby.
Let's go, Knicks.
Yes, sir.
All right, Adam. I'll be in touch, man. Thank you so much.
All right, you got to do what it takes to get there. See you later, guys.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
The great Adam Smeirnoff, folks. So let's dive into Pat Riley a little bit here. This to me is a very, very, very big deal. And you guys are all basketball historians and hoop heads going way back decades, and you know all about Pat Riley and what he's done. Okay. So my question is, like I said to Adam, who is your favorite coach of all time? He could have said Pop or Bernie Bickerstaff. He could have said anybody. I didn't say favorite Knicks coach of all time. I said favorite coach of all time. I thought he was going to say Riley, but I loved all the JVG stuff. So I'm going to go first on this one, guys. My favorite coach of all time is Pat Riley, okay? Showtime Lakers, that I grew up with them. That's the basketball I was weaned on. Worthy, Scott, Magic, Kareem, Riley, Rambis, the whole group, Coop, the whole group. The Showtime Lakers, baby. The coolest team ever, with the coolest player ever, Magic, and the coolest coach ever, okay? He may not be the best coach ever. He may not be your favorite coach ever. He's mine. But I do think he's the coolest coach ever. The look, the posture, the hands on the hips, the quick spin turnaround after a tough play with a wince, right? Used to always do that. He would like spin like a dancer in those probably $2,000 wingtips that he had on. When I think of how a coach should look, I think of Pat Riley, okay? And I completely agree with Pat, and I've been saying this for years, Pat, that
Bring the suits back.
NBA coaches need to be in suits. I don't like it. I know it's not going to change. COVID came and everybody went casual and everybody threw away their ties and blah, 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 blah. We all get it. We lived it. Look at Mick Cronin at UCLA. By the way, Mick Cronin's press conferences are everything. Mick, keep buzzsawing those dudes, man. I'm into it. I want UCLA to win because Mick Cronin. Anyway, he looks dashing. Buzz Williams of Maryland, always rocking some really kick-ass clothing. That to me is how it should go. So Riley's number one, and I will give you guys the top five. Number two is Mike Fratello. Number three, who we're going to have on very soon on the show. Number three is our buddy Lionel Hollins, who we've already had on twice. Number four is Greg Popovich, and number five is Rick Carlisle. Now, in a minute, I want to take a minute to explain kind of why I've got my ranking, but I don't want to eat too much of the chicken bone right now. Let's go around the room here. So Riley is my favorite coach of all time, but I want to go to A.M. Pfeffer. Who is your favorite coach of all time in the NBA? A.M. Pfeffer.
I really have two that are like split down the middle. I really have a 50-50 on this. Lenny Wilkins is huge for me. He taught me a lot in life about consistency, and he was the guy everybody was chasing over 1,300 wins forever. And little known fact about him, and this is a part of when I was falling back in love with basketball, but like people forget he was the coach of the second Dream Team, 96, right? Like he wasn't the original 92, but like the second version of this, and where they won by like 30 plus points. And you know, not that the team yet had a target on its back or the world was anywhere near competing with our guys, obviously, but like Olajuwon was our center and like he was still playing for America at that time. Very, very cool. I don't know. I love Lenny Wilkins. And the second guy on this was Jerry Sloan, because Jerry Sloan actually made me fall in love with basketball. You've heard me call him Shoulda. Like I've nicknamed Shoulda for Jerry Sloan. Like Jerry Sloan's like should have won Coach of the Year like 10 years in a row. That's how good he was. Like the level of it, like that's just who he was. I mean, it was ridiculous that Utah was that good. But like, why do I say this? Because I'm a New Yorker, you know, and I'm dating myself way back when like, you know, to watch the NBA, it's not like watching the NBA today with League Pass. Like you had to watch, you had to like really seek it out for certain times. But like I found myself like falling in love with basketball and the pick and roll that he implemented in Utah of all places. You know what I'm saying? Like this is when like I really understood like there's this expansive universe. Again, I'm living in a bubble in New York or whatever. And like Jerry Sloan just had the Jazz like every single year, 50 plus wins, consistency, a version of basketball that was just like beautiful to watch and loved watching it. So I split it between those two guys. They really are.
It's a phenomenal answer, dude. Dr. Phil, Dr. X, the founder, the creator, the patriarch of the X-Rated Sports Network. Your favorite coach of all time?
When you say favorite coach of all time, I think Adam convinced me that Jeff Van Gundy, because of his success, number one with the Knicks. It's kind of hard for me to root for another coach outside of, the coach for our team. So I would say Jeff Van Gundy. Pat Riley was up there, but, he left. And the terms that he left, it was a little, I wouldn't say shady,
Murky.
but he left because they weren't giving him what he wanted.
Right.
But ultimately speaking, then he also went and gave us hell with Miami, but we gave him hell as well. But I have some honorable mentions of guys that don't have a decorated coaching career, but I think would have been one of my favorite coaches. And I think Mark Jackson would have been a great Knicks coach, just wasn't given the opportunity. And I also think Jason Kidd would be a great coach too. I just love how Jason Kidd builds players, as he would say, and also how he's unlocked certain players and he's creative, even to the point of getting fines, or he's knocking out. He's telling players to throw ice on the floor or knock a cup of juice out of his hand. Stuff like that is kind of like old school type coaches that do try to win at all costs. You know what I mean? So I just like how Jason Kidd his vibes when he's coaching, and he seems like to be a player's coach. So I like coaches that are like players coaches and don't handcuff their team. Like Larry Brown is in my doghouse still. Popovich is in my doghouse. Spoelstra's in my doghouse. Um, but I do, and mostly because of fantasy sports. But and also Steve Kerr.
How is Steve
Rick,
Kerr
I
not in
got
your
you.
doghouse for
Yeah,
Kaminga? Throw Steve
well,
Kerr under the bus too.
because they won four rings as my side piece team when the Knicks are struggling. So I'll give them that. But I don't like how he treated Tatum. I don't like how he treated Kaminga and other young players like Wiseman and things like that. But yeah. So just to recap, I would say definitely Jeff Van Gundy, and honorable mention would be Jason Kidd and Mark Jackson.
Oh, I love
There
it.
you go,
I love
Jeff.
it. I
There
love
you
it.
go, Jeff.
I want Jason and Kai. I'm kind of putting them on the spot here, but I did send this to them, and I saw it right before we came on, so I know they have it. Guys, put up the Pat Riley still that I got off of X, where it showed his demands to take the Miami Heat job. And so I want you Knick fans to understand what you guys were up against. And I know that you probably heard this back in the day. Maybe you've forgotten it over the years, but Pat Riley asked Mickey Arison for everything except his company. And Mickey Arison said, "Okay, there you go." And they'll pull it up here at some point. So Dwight Walton, in the meantime here, give us your, again, and for everybody watching, not for you, Dwight, for everybody, we're not talking best coach, right? We're talking favorite coach. You know what I'm saying? So it could be anybody then. But Dwight, who is your favorite NBA coach of all time?
I've got two responses. The first response to me is it's pretty obvious. Phil Jackson is my favorite head coach, not because he won the championships, but because of his approach to coaching. Being able to get a bunch of egotistical and very egotistical players to come together for one common goal. Having his players read books, having them do Zen sessions, ergo the nickname the Zen Master, to have players believe in an offensive system that no pro player wanted to be a part of. It was an equal opportunity. We all understood that Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Scottie Pippen to a lesser degree were the most important offensive tools in those triangle offenses. But it was to get those players to implement that type of style of play with the egos that were amassed on that team, to be able to psychologically handle a Dennis Rodman, to allow a Dennis Rodman to go on vacation, if you will, during the NBA Finals to Las Vegas from Salt Lake City, Utah, so he can let off steam, be less stressed, because he understood that if you give Dennis Rodman that leeway, he will come back and give you more than 110%. And that worked. I just have so much respect for a coach that can go out of his way to allow a player to go basically against everything what all of us coaches talk about: discipline, togetherness, the chemistry. He let his player go and vacation in Vegas so he can gamble and do whatever else he did to allow him to perform at his best on the basketball court. So along with the championships, for me, Phil Jackson is my favorite coach. In a runner-up position, it's Mike D'Antoni. Yes, he didn't stress defense, But the way we see the NBA today is mostly in due part to Mike D'Antoni. The 7 seconds or less offense that he brought to the NBA. Having the foresight to let Steve Nash run the show. It got my boy 2 MVPs because of that. Should have been 3 MVPs in a row, but I understand that some of the reporters out there didn't want Steve's name to be alongside Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Larry Bird. I get it. I understand
Shaq should
that.
have won one of those.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. That's cool.
Shaq is
But-
still pissed about it, by the way, to this day. He wants to be Steve Nash.
To
That was good,
go
right?
to go to Europe and to say, you know what, having a post player on the low block sort of muddies the middle of the paint. So you know what, I want to have 5 out, spread out, have a power forward or a center that can is able to dribble, pass, and shoot, to open the lane, to force defenses to have to guard out to the 3-point line, to incorporate the 3-point shot. He was analytics before analytics. I love the style of play that he brought to the NBA. So he is my runner-up to Phil Jackson. I know you took the D out of D'Antoni's name because he didn't stress the defensive end of the floor. It also got to the point where he hired defensive coordinators because he didn't want to deal with that side of the basketball. But Mike D'Antoni is responsible for the style of play that we see in the NBA today. More player and ball movement, more body movement, more skill is being shown because of the style of play that Mike D'Antoni introduced to NBA basketball.
So because we have the best crew in TV or podcasting, Kai Josephson and Jason Arambulo have checked this out. Okay, so for Knicks fans who were salty at Pat Riley and it was murky and muddy and the way he left the team and all this kind of stuff, let's break this down. Pat Riley's list of demands to go to the Miami Heat. A $50 million contract, said nobody ever back then. This one is the real kick. 20% ownership stake? I did not know that. $500 a day per diem? I was between like 50 and 75 bucks for NBA TV, and I thought I was balling, okay? $500 a day per diem. My God, what is it, lobster with every meal? No, and Pat, it probably was. A limo to and from games. He needed to buy out his houses in LA and New York City. I mean, this is the most gangster SH you-know-what of all time. And he had to be the team president and head coach. I ain't just going there to do one thing. Doc, are you kidding me with how gangster that is right there?
I love it. You gotta know your worth. And he knew that they could meet those demands. So I'm glad he, advocated for himself. And that's what you got to do in life, man. You got to know your worth and put it out there.
Or
leverage.
Or was he not trying to leave New York, so he gave the Heat an unrealistic amount of demands, thinking the Heat wouldn't give it to him?
Great point.
Yeah, all of that.
This is an unrealistic list of demands. I'm sorry. It is.
I don't think so. I go back, Rick, what you were saying. This is gangster. I mean, this is something where like a smart owner would look at and be like, this is the man. This is the guy who's going to come down and change the culture and bring us to the promised land. Like, I would think an unrealistic
by the way, they had to give up a first-round pick. They gave up a first-round pick for him too. They traded for Pat Riley.
This is just baller. But it's I mean, like, really, unrealistic is like would be like. You'd see 4 or 5 other things that are completely out of the realm of just even having a conversation. This is not that. He was like, I want all of this, and he got it. This is baller. This is an amazing list.
I love the limo to and from the games, too, man. I'm busy. I'm going to be on the phone and working, and I can't be dealing with Miami traffic. And I think I don't want to say where Pat lives, but anyway, love me some Pat Riley. So I think you guys will really enjoy this. Okay, I want to get into like my top 5 of favorite coaches of all time because of the storytelling. So Mike Fratello is number 2 on my list, right? 667 wins, coach of the year. He gave this, but this is why he's number 2. Okay, it's my favorites, right? So I am playing favorites here. These are my homies. I'm not homies with Pat. I'm friendly with Pat, but these are my homies. Mike Fratello. We're going to have him on the show in like 2 weeks. He gave me the best advice of my entire TV career. We're at a Vegas club, being good boys. And I was at a crossroads of my career of creativity and conforming. And I was transitioning from the fantasy guy, nutty and creative and just, all that stuff, right? And kind of like the cultish type of stuff. And I don't mean it in like, the bad way, but like the cult classic, like the cult following type of way, in the good way, in the media way, to anchor and host. All right. And so to iron out those wrinkles, it was a process. Mike's, because I was struggling with this and having meetings with, I wasn't like in jeopardy of losing my job, but I needed to do it the Turner way. Okay. And their way, of course, was the right way, but I had to make this transition. So Mike said, you can continue to do it your way and hope for the best, or you can do it their way and stay around for a long time. And those are basically the exact same words. From that, it just went ding, it was a bullseye. From that point on, I just followed the plan. And by the way, it's less work, right? Just whatever the producer says, whatever the director says, you do it, period. Okay? And if it ends up wrong, it's on them, not you. Actually, it still is on you because you're the guy on TV. But I completely kind of switched, and it like finished that transformation for me. And then bam, I'm an anchor and doing all this kind of stuff. But it was about less is more. It was about being subtle about avenues to express creativity as opposed to with a blowtorch. Number 3, these are my top 5 favorite coaches of all time. It's our guy, Lionel Hollins. Okay, here's why. 262 wins for Lionel. He gave me, and I told him this in a text, and he really appreciated it. He gave me the best compliment of my entire career. And Dwight, and Doc, and Jason, and Kai,
I was
you
there.
guys were there for that. You were there for that. So Lionel, and the reason that the Lionel compliment is better than the other 2 that I'm about to tell you about is because it was personal. All right. And the compliment that I got from Greg Popovich that I'll tell you guys in a minute wasn't personal. Okay. It was extraordinary, but it wasn't personal. I don't have a relationship with Greg Popovich. Okay. I have a relationship with Lionel Hollins. He told me he doesn't, and all of us, that he doesn't do podcasts. He turns down pretty much every offer to do a podcast, but he came on with me and you guys and us because of our time together at NBA TV, and he trusts me. And we have a friendly relationship. We've stayed in touch over the years, and to get that, because you never know as a media guy, and you're not looking for it to elevate to the friendship zone. You're not. You're just like trying to do your job, do right by Lionel, get him on, have great content and that kind of thing. But sometimes personalities and human beings click a little bit. All right. And so Lionel, we love you, man. But that's number 3. He's number 3. Greg Popovich is number 4. He gave me the second best compliment of my career. 2007 finals. Spurs beat the Cavs in game 4 in Cleveland, series over. I'm waiting outside the interview room. My assignment was to interview Tony Parker, finals MVP. Pop turns as he's going into the interview room and goes straight towards me. I'm like, uh-oh, what did I do? I'm in trouble. I don't know where that guilty conscience comes from. Again, a wink. But Pop turns and walks straight for me, pats me on the chest 3 times, and says, I'm a fan of your work. You do your homework. You're always prepared. You're never caught off guard. And that comes through the air. He said, keep up the great work. He went bang, bang, bang. And he went into the interview room. And I said, thank you, coach. And it was brief, but it was unbelievable, dude. And so then lastly, it's Rick Carlisle. And the Rick Carlisle thing isn't a compliment. It's again, kind of a Lionel Hollins thing with a relationship. Rick Carlisle's an awesome dude. And he's one of 7 coaches in the history of the NBA to win a ring and have 1,000 wins. There's 7 of them, okay? And he's one. He asked me, it was like the 2004 Eastern Conference Finals, Detroit, Indiana, right? The Rick Carlisle Bowl. He was the Detroit coach and then went to the Indiana Pacers, and Larry Brown took over for Rick in Detroit. And then they're playing against each other. So there's a huge media scrum. There's 8 cameras. There's 20 media people. There's producers and blah, blah, blah. Huge thing, right? Rick Carlisle before it even gets started, I'm standing right next to him, so I was in a good spot. And just chilling and waiting for the David Aldridges and these guys, the big boys, and Craig Sager to ask their questions. And then I'll get my little question in, kind of staying. It was my second year with NBA TV. Stay in your lane, bro. He interrupted the whole thing and said, "Hey, Rick, who's your Magic Man of the night tonight?" Bro. I didn't know Rick Carlisle at the time at all. And I'm like, and I didn't have one because it was the playoffs, and but I made something up on the fly in front of like I said, 30 people or whatever. But it was amazing and super complimentary to me. And so me and him have been buddies ever since. And so he watched the fantasy show. That's where he got the Magic Man thing. And he obviously heard me talking about the Grateful Dead nonstop. Okay. And guess what? He's a deadhead like me. Bill Walton, here's a story. Another friend of mine, may he rest in peace, introduced Rick to the Dead back in the mid-1980s when they were on the Celtics winning that championship together, and I believe it was 85, 86, I think that was. Yeah, when 86. Walton was Sixth Man of the Year. Yes. Bill Walton took Rick Carlisle to a 1987 Dead show. I've seen 33 Dead shows. Probably 15 of them were in 1987. That was like my biggest year to see the Grateful Dead. By the way, a tremendous, tasty vintage of the Grateful Dead, okay? And Bill Walton took Rick to a show that year where Rick went on a first date with his now wife, okay? So how cool is that? Bill, I love you up in heaven. Rick Carlisle, I love you down on earth. I know you're tanking this year, but we're going to be seeing you and the Pacers, and it's fine. I mean, we get it, but we're going to be seeing the Pacers return to relevance next year. Guys, where are we for time? Running a little short. We're kind of up against it here. Any reaction to any of that, or do you guys want to move on to the roundtable rant?
I like your list.
Yeah,
beautiful.
I love your list.
That was awesome.
I love your list.
Love it.
I appreciate it, man. We love the storytelling. Okay, so the rant. I don't want to go first here because I've been talking so much. So I want to go to Dr. X right here. Dr. X, you got a rant? You got something you need to get off your chest other than like popping it for the Knicks? Like what are we doing here? What's your rant?
Now I do. I mean, I have two rants. Number one, college basketball would be so much better if they would just use the same rules as the NBA, just like you've been saying, cuz like
agreed.
Just make all the rules the same. Stop trying to be different. Stop trying to be cute.
Yes.
Like, honestly speaking, in order for them to have true success, they're gonna have to be able to shoot the NBA three. So let's see what they can do in college. They're grown men. Once you reach 18, everybody wants to be a man. So hit the weight room, get those NBA threes up. Let's have four quarters. And I'm really tired of seeing these scores. Like, it's kind of discouraging. 68 to 60, 67 or whatever. That's high school intramurals. You had to be like, those are our scores when we had to have a whole game during the lunch period with a running clock. Okay. So we got all eyes on college basketball this year. It's time to like get the rules to match, because I think the product that they have on the floor is very interesting to see every year. And, people get behind their teams. It's almost like college football. And I just feel like they just do those rules would be nice. Second thing, if we don't have time to discuss it, I really want us to observe how good and be honest at how good the Detroit Pistons, not about the wins or losses, but see how they play against, number one, the San Antonio Spurs tonight, and see if those issues, just having another shot creator, is good. How Duran plays against someone like Wembanyama, how all their dogs match up against Detroit Pistons dogs. And that's a really interesting game that I want to see. I want to really see how these guys match up personally, and for the rest of the year with other teams. They've kind of proven it to me that they're a good team, but I really want to see if they can sustain the greatness that they've shown all year. So I'm looking out with a scouting eye, and we're as I told you guys before, we have nothing but footage and intel on this team. So I'm watching every Detroit Piston game right now just to see all the cracks that we can capitalize on in the playoffs.
Huge game tonight. Spurs at Pistons, which is currently my NBA Finals. I told you guys earlier in the show, the Knicks, I don't think are winning the conference anymore. I think Detroit is, unless Jason Tatum comes back, but he's not back yet. So right now I got Detroit and San Antonio, and tonight I got Wemby. Doc, you going Wemby or Cade tonight? Who wins the game?
I got the Spurs only because I'm a hater of the Pistons at this point.
You know what?
All right, so yeah, give a
why I
quick
love
prediction
you.
and then give your rant. Yeah, so I got Spurs. He's got Spurs. Dwight, give your prediction on the game tonight and then your rant.
The game's in Detroit. I'm going with the Pistons. That's what I'm going with the Pistons. Just to extend your rant a bit, Phil, I think they should just go FIBA in basketball, period. Just go FIBA. Allow the ball as soon as it's on the rim to be live. You advance the ball to half court. You only get 14 seconds. All of that stuff. That's how I think it should be. But the women are already doing that in college basketball. The men should follow suit. There's 2 20-minute halves. It should be 4 10-minute quarters. 24-second shot clock. Leave the three-point line at the FIBA line. Not the college line, but the FIBA line. Not quite the NBA. But let the players just be the determining factor in college as opposed to the coaches. But that was your rant. To AM, my cousin Phil, and to Rick, I lied to you guys at the beginning before we went on the air. I'm extremely pissed off that the USA beat Canada in the gold medal yesterday. And had we won, I would have been talking, you know what, if we had won. So that is a fact. We are not happy here. I will give the USA hockey program its flowers. Carter Hellebuck, you were the best player in the world in hockey yesterday. A lot of playoff teams in the past in the National Hockey League have won Stanley Cups because of how hot their goaltender was. They may not have had the better teams, but goalies can absolutely steal championships. I witnessed it here back in 1993 when Patrick Waugh led the Montreal Canadiens to their last Stanley Cup victory. It has been years of frustration here in Montreal, but that playoff run, the Montreal Canadiens won 10 games in overtime, mostly in part to Patrick Waugh, who to me is arguably the best goalie to ever play in the National Hockey League. Connor Hellebuck was that guy yesterday in Italy for US as they beat my beloved Canadians. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off now. It's gonna sting for a while. We could talk about the 3-on-3 format. We could talk about the 5-on-3 opportunity that we had. We can talk about the missed opportunities by Connor McDavid, by Taves, and by Nathan McKinnon, who were on the doorstep of scoring some goals. But again, Connor Hellebuck was the hero. The USA deserves the gold medal. I'm not going to sit here and just disrespect them. It's not the case here. But am I upset? Absolutely. And had we won, you can best believe I'd have been talking some serious trash to all y'all and my American fans. No question about it.
So, AM, who wins tonight? Detroit and San Antonio. And then what's your rant?
I'm going Detroit because they're at home, and I need to feel better about it because they took down the Knicks. Honestly, I really do. I need to see them win because of that. No rant, but I do have a shout out before I get out. Dwight, I love what you just said, but you stole the thunder a little bit because really my shout out is to the country of Canada. I just want to absolutely tell you, I'm really proud of you guys. Not just the overtime loss to the men's team, but the overtime loss to the women's team as well. But here you are, guys, on a Monday morning. You're putting your pants on one leg at a time. You're all getting up. You're going to work. You're not just sitting around in bed sulking. Just a huge shout out to the entire country, west to east. Canada, you're in my heart today. You really are.
Oh, get out of here. Get out of here. Don't,
I knew that was a
what?
setup. I smelled it.
Respect due.
I'm so proud.
Respect.
All right, fellas, I will wrap up the show here with a little rant. You guys crack me up, man. Wemby is making a bunch of NBA stars look really bad, in my opinion. Wemby said, "I'll be in the dunk contest one day." After delivering a highlight reel dunk, you guys saw the reverse windmill. It's like, what did I just watch? Freakish stuff, okay? Did you hear that LeBron James, Wemby, has passed LeBron and Durant and Curry and all these GOATs as the best leader in the NBA? So, LeBron, do you hear that? You hear that? Some of us are. Wemby has not won a playoff game, LeBron, and he's passed you as a better leader. Here's why. Wemby has already set the tone that saved the All-Star game from death, okay, which LeBron crapped on last year. He did. Which Luka and Jokic crap on every year. And players like Jason Tatum have complained, whined. Love you, Jason, but in this regard, I did not. Well, I don't want to play hard in the All-Star game because I might get injured. Where? Are you serious right now, dude? I mean, we got to take away your man card for at least a day for that, dude. Like, that's insane. How are you caught on audio saying that, dude? Jason, I love you, but do better. Wemby changed that, okay? LeBron didn't. Brunson, I love Brunson, but he didn't. Wemby did, okay? LeBron ruined the dunk contest. I will die on that hill. He did, okay? Once again, here comes Wemby riding out on a white horse to save the day. And I'm not saying LeBron ruined the All-Star game. That was collective, okay? But I am saying that LeBron ruined the dunk contest. And here comes Wemby riding in to save the day, fixing something LeBron James broke, the dunk contest. And now, with Wemby doing it, I believe that the young studs coming after him, Dibansa, the dudes in the 2027 draft, the dudes in the 2028 draft, they will now do the dunk contest because Wemby did it, okay? He's going to make the dunk contest cool again because that's, in part, why Edwards and Morant and Zion don't want to do it because it's not cool again. But you know why it stopped being cool again? LeBron James didn't do the dunk contest. If he did it, all these guys would keep doing it and it would stay cool. All right. So check this out, guys. Hoops culture, that's us, that's barbershops, that's all that. They know the dunk contest sucks. We all do. Casual NBA fans know the dunk contest sucks. And it's on Wemby, of all people, to change that culture back to when we cared about the dunk. And I believe he's going to succeed with that, just like he succeeds with everything else he does. Everything he touches turns to gold. Victor Wembanyama is the best leader in the NBA right now. Number one. And I'm not talking necessarily about team leader. Obviously, he leads the Spurs at a very high level. He is changing ball player culture of the entire league, guys. That's what Wemby is doing. And he hasn't even won a playoff series or won a playoff game yet. You guys, we are witnessing the start of something that could be the greatest thing we've ever seen in the NBA. And I'll just leave it at that. Any final thoughts, guys? Are we out?
You know what, Rick? Forget about the future drafts. He may have, may get Anthony Edwards, Zion Williamson, and those guys to dunk now because he has dropped the gauntlet, if you will, to bring these guys back. You never know. You know what? I don't want to get on that LeBron James ruining the dunk contest narrative, but if Wembanyama gets Edwards and Williamson and some of these other cats to dunk in it, then I'll jump on that narrative. No question.
Okay. No, it's a great point, Dwight.
Alberta, McGill University, all you up there in the Yucatan, Prince Edward Islands.
Rick, hey.
Proud of you. Really.
Hey, be quiet. Stop.
Everyone at Whistler and Blackcomb.
Oh my!
Keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, all right. Wow, we got to come call off the fight. I'm Mills Lane back in the day. I got to separate the fighters here. Holy cow. Hey, Dwight's about to get on a plane back to LA, dude, and that ain't going to go well for you.
Seriously.
Toronto.
All right, on this laugh and on this beautiful note, big thanks to Adam Smeirnoff for joining the show, a.k.a. Schmeens. He's our boy. And big thanks to Jason Arambulo behind the glass, Kai Josephson, for Dr. X, for Dwight Walton, for A.M. Pfeffer. I am Rick Kamla. We will see you Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time for the next episode of Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. Peace out, folks.
Let's go Spurs. Let's go Spurs and Knicks.